morning after Hurricane Sandy struck New Jersey, the whole world woke up to this image. The Starjet roller coaster in Seaside Heights, knocked from the casino pier, sitting in the ocean. Me? I knew every turn on that roller coaster. You know that perfect moment each summer when you sit back? Maybe it's at the 4th of July fireworks, or it's your first game of catch with your kid. You exhale and you think to yourself, whew, I made it through another year. Well, the straightaway at the top of that roller coaster where the car feels like it could fall off the edge of the world, that was always that moment for me. And that's the Jersey Shore for you, right? We mark our time by its rituals. Prom weekends, the first time we take our kids on the rides our parents took us on, that one last ocean swim before school starts. And it's beautiful, but it ain't the Hamptons or Martha's Vineyard, my friend. Everybody's here. On the boardwalk in Asbury Park or Seaside Heights, you could bump into a blue blood from Princeton, a Wall Street billionaire, a family of new immigrants from Mexico, your plumber, or your governor.
Matthew, how old are you?
They've copied this all over the world, from England to Brazil. But we invented this experience, damn it. We do it in 50 different flavors, from Spring Lake to Wildwood. And even as so much of the rest of the world has become Disneyfied and commodified, with people walling themselves off into neighborhoods and malls that all look the same, we've always had this. Mother Nature's beautiful beach and ocean right alongside this crazy human carnival. Now look at it. Look what Sandy did to it. "40 people killed, 300,000 homes damaged or destroyed, $38 billion in damage." These are the cold numbers from Hurricane Sandy in New Jersey, but they barely tell the story. You see, rebuilding any place after a disaster is a process fraught with emotion. But few places in the country stir up more emotion, people from near and far with strong ties or just a love of the place, than the Jersey Shore. I'm Brian Donohue. I've been a reporter in New Jersey for 19 years, and I grew up a Benny. That's a derogatory term for shore tourists. But the tug was too strong, and 10 years ago I succumbed and moved to the shore. This story is about how that same tug, that broad and deep emotional attachment to boardwalks and bungalows that so many people share in New Jersey and across the world, will be a factor as large as climate change and economics in driving what happens next. In fact, it might just be the biggest factor. Among the landmarks destroyed by Sandy was this mural on the Asbury Park boardwalk that I always loved. It had a quote from New Jersey writer JUNOT DIAZ. Now, Diaz was born in the Dominican Republic, and he moved to Sayreville as a kid. He and I have really different backgrounds. But like me, the shore seems to have always had him in its grip. Before I set out for our battered shore towns, I took a little detour. I met Diaz at a diner to ask him why.
My earliest lessons in New Jersey and in America were at the shore. The boardwalk, the boardwalks. These things were very important to us. I mean, in many ways, they were the sort of planks of my childhood. The shore feels like you're participating in America in a real fundamental way. It was just a spectacular way to encounter the breadth of New Jersey in one tiny sort of shining strip of coast.
In these few months since Hurricane Sandy hit, everywhere there's been this mantra: restore the shore. Not rebuild, restore, to bring back to its original condition. Because that's what we all want, right? But is it a pipe dream? Just what is this place going to look like? After the storm, we all had our spots, these places that we were hoping so hard had survived the storm. Maybe it was the bench your grandmother liked to sit on to watch the ocean, or the bar where you met your husband or your wife. We wanted to check up on them like relatives we hadn't heard from. I set out to look at a few of mine, hoping they might yield some clues as to what the shore itself might look like down the road. First stop, one of my regular surf spots in Spring Lake, just 3 blocks down from the Belmar beach where my parents first met, in the water. 2 kids from Jersey City, my mother first catching my dad's eye with her body surfing skills. Like, just knowing that you're in the same waters where your parents met, it's like a salmon finding its way back to the waters where they spawn somehow, you know? And it really roots you into place, and it really does give you the urge to just try to take everything and put it back exactly where it was. This was the house that my family rented every year, 2 weeks, last 2 weeks of July. My father's only 2 weeks of vacation every year, probably 15 years at least in a row. The boardwalk leads right to the house now. Look at this. I remember sitting on that stoop on the side on the day we had to leave with the vacuums going and my mom vacuuming the house, having to go home back to Union County and crying on that top step. Just tears, just bawling. Vacation was over. It was our house. We rented it, but that was our house. Now, these are just my little memories, just one guy. But our pool of Jersey Shore memories is so vast and so deep because of the way the shore is. You can be rich or poor and carve out a place. You can hate the beach and love the shore. It's about that diversity of places, that diversity of experience. We take it for granted, but we shouldn't. For years, even before Sandy, New Jersey's funky seashore culture and a lot of the character quirks that give different towns their individual charm had already begun slowly eroding. Bungalows giving way to modular housing, scores of Wildwood's doo-wop motels demolished for condos, Long Branch's amusement pier replaced by a glorified upscale mall. Thankfully, Sandy spared the boardwalks in Wildwood and Atlantic City and won't speed up the process much in those places. And in Belmar, where the arcades left years ago, they'll rebuild the boardwalk and not much will change. But here in Seaside Heights, it's not so clear. For this place to come back to what it was, a lot of tiny pieces are going to have to fall into place. And some of those pieces are already missing. This is Doug Woodfield. He's been operating game stands, rides, and shops on the Seaside Heights Boardwalk longer than I've been alive. He introduced the Great Frog Bog game to the boards, and let me tell you, that makes him a genius in my book. From the outside and even inside the ground floor of his shop, the Twisted Fish, it looks fine. Below the surface, it's a different story. You can't get in the basement, basically.
This basement is 30 foot by 50 foot, 12 foot high, absolutely filled with debris to the tippy top.
Jesus. That's just the boardwalk that came in, the debris? Or
all came off the ocean and the boardwalks and the pier over there. And
so what's your plans?
I've been on the boardwalk for 43 years. My lease is up here now, and I'm going to pack it in.
You're packing it in?
I'm going to pack it in, yeah. Between Hurricane Irene and between this, rent's a little too high. I don't have confidence that we're going to make our rent this year, and I'm going to pack it up.
How do you feel?
I feel like saying goodbye to 43 years of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
You think Seaside will be different?
Oh, yeah.
Very different.
But they will put the boardwalk back together, and it will still get that honky-tonk flavor back, and it will still become fun again.
All right.
Yeah.
Still be honky-tonk. It's got to be honky-tonk.
Got to be honky-tonk.
But if you had enough people like Doug, or just a few key property owners who decide to cash in their land and get out of this business, this place could change dramatically. Right now, in this 2 to 3 month window after the storm, everyone is meeting with insurance adjusters, looking to help from FEMA and watching the guy next door to decide what to do. Bob Stewart owned the Carousel arcade on the Funtown Pier, which actually sits in Seaside Park. His business is gone, the pier decimated. Does he think it can come back? Well, there's layers to that answer. First, the pier owners must get enough money from insurance to rebuild, and then decide that they want to rebuild. Then each tenant must make the same calculation.
They could take the money and run and sell it, sell the dirt, or they could take the money and rebuild. You know, they have 2 options. That's their only 2 options. Hopefully they'll put the pier back together, and hopefully someday it'll be an arcade again. I've seen kids grow up and their kids grow up and, you know, grandkids there. You know, I've had them all as customers, you know, and I'd hate to see a change. I'd hate to see condos out here or something like that. The thing that was great about it is it hasn't changed. It's still the same way it was 50 years ago when I came here. And, yeah.
What is this place going to become? You know, what is it? How is it going to be different than it was before?
I think it's not going to be different in the sense that we are a resort community and we're going to continue to be a resort community. I don't know what's going on with the piers. I mean, when you went overhead and you saw those two piers jutting out into the water, you knew where you were. You were at Seaside Heights.
Right.
Are both piers going to rebuild? Or no piers going to be rebuilt? We don't know.
Because this could be tempting for you know, someone with deep pockets to come in and just change the character of this town, and then it becomes a bedroom community, and then it's not the same Seaside Heights as it was.
You're absolutely right. Can it happen? Yes, it's a very real possibility. I'm not going to say people aren't going to come in and take advantage of some people's misfortune, trying to get a deal that they might not have otherwise been able to get. But I think at the end of the day, I would hope that the people, because the family lines go back very deep here, say, you know what, we're Seaside Heights people, we're going to be Seaside Heights people, we're going to hang on and be part of the rebuild process.
Now, if you think I'm nuts for worrying about this, we have seen this before. This is Pier Village in Long Branch. It's not a pier, it's not a village. It is a nice place, but it feels like it could be anywhere, Illinois or Texas. Condos, boutiques, and high-end restaurants. Besides the boardwalk, it's nothing like Seaside Heights. But at one time, it was. Here's what used to be here. Water slides, rides, arcades, boardwalk culture, full on. And then it all went up in flames in a massive fire in 1987. There were vows to rebuild it, just like you're hearing in Seaside Heights now. It never happened. It all went upscale. And if you don't think something was lost, you don't get the Jersey Shore. This place is nice. The restaurants are nice. I like to come here. But nobody's developing an emotional attachment to this place. You know, you can't see a 9-year-old kid or a 7-year-old kid in Bergen County on a February night dreaming of coming in the summer to Pier Village. Nobody's forming childhood memories here right now. It's not the old Jersey Shore.
They started with a residential because it's the easiest to build and fill. People need a place to live. People don't need this. But when this was built, they came. It was a complete facelift for us here. Maybe you'll see that in Seaside, I don't know. That's up to them. They explored a lot of options on the mix. What's it going to look like? Do we want more residential? Do we want less? Do we want more commercial? You know, what's the draw? Who are we going to be here? You know, who is this built for? You couldn't build a penny arcade at today's prices per square foot and make it feasible.
Not everyone is so sentimental. I tracked down Billy Majors, owner of the Funtown Pier. It's an amusement park that, along with the casino pier, is a key part of what makes Seaside tick. Years ago, Majors hatched, then abandoned a plan to build condos here. He says it's a business, nothing more. Rebuilding will be a business decision, and he's bracing for a tussle with his insurer. I asked him if he had flood insurance, and he said, not enough. You don't feel like you gotta keep this place going for people's memories or generations, or it's a business decision for you?
Business decision and something we like to do.
Like everyone who loves this place, I was longing for some more reassurance. Out on the casino pier, I met Lou Sirigliano, who works for the Storino family, owners of the pier. Lou came through.
From your memories to everybody else, heard from everyone.
Because really, they could cash out.
They could
probably cash out, take insurance money, and...
Sure, that would be the easy way to go and say, I don't need the headaches anymore, let's let somebody else take it over, but...
You know, maybe I underestimate people, but maybe I'm a pessimist, but when something like this happens, I think, they're going to just sell it. They're going to put condos on it.
There's a lot of speculation. People are saying the pier's not being rebuilt, but from the very outset, I never heard any of it. I mean, you never know. It would have been the easy way to do it. Just say, forget it. We're not going to rebuild. But I think you see all up and down the shore that everybody's committed to the same thing.
And I found some of the same quixotic resolve up in Keensburg, site of the state's oldest amusement park. Owner Bill Gilhouse's grandfather first filled in the marshes along the bay shore here in the 90s, the 1890s. Sandy nearly wiped it out. No matter, he's coming back.
This is what we do. This is what we know. Just that simple. This is our life. Can't just give it up.
Now, the boardwalks are one thing. Across the shore, thousands of people are in a far more grave situation, trying to decide whether to rebuild or abandon their homes. It's these people, mostly middle and working class people, that make the whole shore experience possible for the rest of us. Nobody embodies this more to me than Harry and Sue McLaughlin, the next door neighbors to my sister and my cousin in Lavallette. Harry is pretty much Mr. Shore. A retired plumber, he carves wooden duck decoys, a great dying Barnegat Bay tradition. He catches tuna and stripers from his boat. He out-body surfs lifeguards 5 decades younger than he, and his sand sculptures draw crowds on the beach every summer. Harry's grandfather built this house in 1946. 3 feet of water claimed everything they owned, and now mold has taken hold in the walls. When I first found them a few days after the storm, they weren't sure if they wanted to live this close to the ocean anymore. To see them pack it in would be crushing, a lot sadder than any piddly roller coaster in the water or a wrecked boardwalk. I went back a few weeks later to see what they had finally decided to do.
We're going to take it down and build another house.
Like a modular up? Or
No, I'm going to build it myself.
You're going to build it?
Yep. Yeah. Because all the mechanicals I'll do myself. I'm going to just hire a friend of mine to be the GC, and then a lot of my friends are going to come down on the weekends, and 2-3 weeks we'll have it framed and go from there.
It is not going to be easy. Harry's 67, he's had some health issues, and Sue, who is camera shy, is worried about him building a house by himself. They had no flood insurance, and they'll need money from FEMA to pull all this off.
I lost every power tool I own.
And now you got to build a house.
Yeah. Well, I feel sorry for some of the people that are, the real old people that have been down here. I mean, they're displaced now. I mean, they might never come back. They can't afford it. They can't afford to rebuild. It's tough. Yeah, we'll get it back. It'll come back.
So that means you got to go back to work now to pay a mortgage now?
I don't think so. I don't know. We'll have to wait and
All
see.
right.
I think maybe Sue will go back to work, and I'll fish.
Did you hear that, Sue? That grueling decision that Harry and Sue are making is being repeated in home after home across 126 miles of coastline now. In Ocean County alone, 52,000 people have applied for FEMA benefits. For many, yeah, it's their second home that may have been damaged or destroyed, but second homes that mean perhaps more to them than their first home. Homes they may have inherited and could never now afford to buy. They'll be balancing the financial cost of rebuilding with the emotional cost of walking away. Mary and Charlie Janicek are among them.
An engineer's coming to certify that the house is totally destroyed, and then somebody's going to come and try and lift the top off, and so we can salvage whatever we can out of it, and then they'll demolish the whole thing.
And then?
Then we'll build on stilts like the Outer Banks.
We've had 35 years of good memories here, and they can't take that away. This is a complete disaster. It looks like a tsunami or a bomb went off here somewhere. I just can't get over it. Pictures do nothing to convey the catastrophe that happened here. So we'll be back.
You're gung-ho to rebuild.
Oh, absolutely.
You never thought about packing it in?
Never.
No.
I've been coming here since my mother was pregnant with me. Wortley Beach, the only place.
All right, this is going to sound silly, but this is the one spot that brought me to tears when I saw it after the storm. It was like a coming-of-age moment this summer when I took my daughters here for the first time. It was hot, it was 90 degrees. My daughter got her first hole-in-one. It was triumphant. There's pieces of the boardwalk. This Frogger game. There's no doubt that I played this Frogger game as a 12-year-old kid. So now the decisions are being made what to rebuild and how to rebuild it, and everybody, the homeowners, the businesses, the government, the insurance companies, they'll all have their spreadsheets and data and try to see whether we can restore the shore. There's not going to be a column on those spreadsheets or a marker on those flood maps to show what these kind of places mean to us. To really restore the shore, here's what it's going to take. It's going to take people who believe in all this more than money. It's going to take some pretty inspired and probably irrational thinking. Kind of thinking that makes someone build a roller coaster on a pier, or a plumber's grandfather build a little house by the beach. Because on paper it doesn't make any sense. But in our hearts we know it does.